All right, guys, so what we're going to do today for your asynchronous assignment is we're going to keep working with the slides from yesterday, the ones where we set up all our equations already and we just need to solve them. So I'm going to go ahead and minimize that, okay, because I do want to show you in my spiral all the work. I'm going to show you how to solve them by hand. And I'm going to show you, of course, how to solve them on the calculator if there's a shortcut for it. Okay, so I really don't need to see the slides full screen because I'm just going to copy down the system on my paper. And you can do the same. It's up to you. Okay, so I'm going to title this Solving Systems All Methods, because we're going to use all three methods if we can, okay? And I'm also going to remind you that we are using Monday's January 18 slides. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and get started with the first example we went over. And this was the one about the golf bags. And the system that we came up with for that one was x plus y equals 124. And we came up with 3850x plus 2250y equals 3,430. Now, for systems like this, you are going to need a calculator to do some of the, adding and subtracting and stuff like that, because we're dealing with bigger numbers now with decimals and so on. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to solve this by hand first. So because the system is written in standard form, then I know that elimination is the way to go, okay? So here's how we eliminate. We've got to create a zero pair. Right now, the x has a 1 in it. This x has a 38.50. This is bigger than that. So if I want my x's to cancel, I'm going to need this x to have the exact same number but different sign. Okay, so if the bottom is a 3850, I'm going to need the top to be a negative 3850. 1 times negative 3850 is going to give me that. So I'm going to have to multiply everybody by a negative 3850. And it's going to create a new little equation. So negative 3850 times x is negative 3850x. Negative 3850 times y is negative 3850y. And then this is what I mean about using your calculator, okay? We have negative 38.50 times the 124. And that's going to be negative 4,774. Okay. And now we're going to solve. We're going to eliminate our x's. Opposite numbers, different signs, cancel. I'm going to have to combine. What do I get when I add 2250 plus a negative 3850? Well, I get negative 16 equals, what do I get when I add a positive 3430 plus a negative 4774? And I get negative 1344. Finally, I just have to divide both sides by negative 16. And I get y equals, so let's do negative 1,344 divided by negative 16, and you get 84. So we've got the y value of our solution. Now it's time to find the x value. So I'm always going to use the simplest form, the one that looks the easiest. So I'm going to use the x plus y equals 124. And I'm going to plug in the 84 in my y. and solve for the x by simply moving it and doing the opposite sign. So I get x equals, and again, you don't have to do this from the top of your head, 124 minus the 84. That'll give you 40. So my answer is 40, 84. Now, what does it mean? Because these are word problems, so we were talking about real life situations here. We said that the x was going to represent full size and that the y was going to represent collapsibles. So if you look at the question, it says how many of each type of bag are in the shipment? Okay, well now we know. 40, that's the x, so that's the full size. We had 40 full-size bags and we had 84 collapsible bags. That's what it means. Okay, and it's important to know what they mean because sometimes on the STAR test, they'll ask you, it'll be a griddable and they'll be like, how many were collapsible? So then you would grid in 84. Okay, so it's important to know this part. Remember the labeling of who is the X and who is the Y because we never know who they're going to be asking us for. Okay. Go get socks. No, okay, so now let's go to number 2. Okay, so I'm showing you by hand first. All right, here we go. Number 2. The system we came up with was 2x plus 3y equals 195. And 3x plus 5y equals 300. And I'm going to even put what we had labeled. We said x was going to be the nights and that y was going to be the meals. Okay. So I already showed you, okay, one way to do these by elimination, right? Well, what if I don't feel like doing elimination? Okay, there's a calculator shortcut. So here's the calculator shortcut. It's called the matrix. All right, so I'm going to show you a shortcut. It might not seem like a shortcut at the beginning because it might, it might look like a lot of steps. But here's what it's called. It's called the matrix. And here's what you do. You take your calculator. Okay, I'm going to clear it. Second plus 712. All right. And what you do is you are going to click on second and then the x with the -1. Second, x with the -1. Then you're going to go over to edit and press enter. You're going to tell your calculator, hey, I have 2 equations and they each have 3 columns, the x column, the y column, the answer column. So I have 2 equations with 3 columns. And now you'll see all these little zeros appear. The zeros on the top represent the spots for the numbers on the top equation. And the zeros on the bottom are the spots for the bottom equation. So on the top, what is next to the x? Next to the x, I see a 2. So I'm going to put 2. Next to the y, I see a positive 3. 3, enter. And then the answer is 195. So all I'm doing is I'm putting the x, then the y, then the answer. And I do the same for the bottom equation. The bottom equation has a 3 in the x, 5 on the y, and 300 as the answer. Once you type in your numbers, you're going to press second mode to get out of there. Go back in there, second matrix, right here. But now you're going to go to math, And you're going to go down all the way to the letter B. Press enter. And you're about to tell the calculator, hey, you're going to give me the answer to this system. Which system? Go back and get it. Second matrix, and just enter, enter. You get to ignore all of that. The answer is always found on the last column, right there. The top number is always your X, and the bottom number is always your Y. So what the calculator is telling me is that my solution is 75,15. Now, what does it mean in the context of the problem? Well, remember what the question said. Always go back and read the question. It said, find the cost of one night. Night was your X's. Ah, the cost. Oh, so it costs $75 per night. And find the cost of one meal. Oh, so it's $15 per meal. That's what they mean in the context of the problem. Okay? So if you don't want to do elimination, you can use the matrix shortcut. Now that was quick. That was the first one, but we're going to do some more. Okay? So that's the first part of this video. I'm going to stop it, and then you're going to watch the second video so that we can continue with the rest of the slides. Just one video would be too long, that's why.